Ellison Assisted Living of Minot hosted a health fair to bring resources to seniors. While there was some music and dancing at the event, there were also representatives from a host of organizations in the field of aging services. Mary Benson primarily works for the Family Caregiver Support Program, which can lend a hand, or in their case, a qualified service provider, for 24 hours.
They can have time away from that caregiving role. And basically it's so that they continue to be the caregiver and keep their loved one at home.
Benson also refers people looking for other services, including financial assistance or for prescription and legal services. You can look for this story on our website for information on the Aging and Disability Resource, as well as Ellison's support group schedule for Parkinson's and Alzheimer's.